Such is feeling, such is its arising, such is its passing away. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. As you all know, after few hours or 45 minutes of mindful walking and mindful sitting, it's a tradition that we listen to a Dhamma talk and then have a discussion. This is something that has been recommended by the Blessed One to support the practice, to support mindful walking and mindful sitting. In other words, the right middle path. So the discourse that we have selected to give this support is the Four Foundations of Mindfulness discourse, which is the handbook of mindfulness, and which is where the entire teaching of the Buddha is compressed. And in that, the Blessed One has given four foundations: how to be mindful on the body, how to be mindful on the feelings, how to be mindful on the mind, and how you can be mindful of the phenomena. We have already covered how you can become mindful on our own body. Blessed One has given 14 ways. And how you can be mindful of the feelings. He has given 3 types of feelings, which we are taking once again, and 2 classifications of those. And then he has given the duality of the mind. How you can be mindful of this duality. And once you go through this gross existence of human beings or any animal, which is body, feelings, and the mind, then he comes to the final layers, which had not been tackled before Buddha. So in phenomena, the Blessed One discusses the reasons why people are not exposed to enlightenment, which we call 5 hindrances. We have discussed that in detail, I think, in one of the sessions that we have had last month, or late last month, or early this month. Sorry, late last month, I think. And then he has, then, is it okay? Can you hear now? Yeah. Then he discussed the final layers of the first 3. When I say final layers of the first 3, body, feelings, and the mind is once again explained in the current topic. The current topic we are discussing is the 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates are form, material form, feelings, perceptions, mental volitions, and the consciousness. And what the Blessed One says there is, we are clinging on to these final layers of physical and mental processes just because we practice mindfulness, which arises from practicing meditation, if I put it in simple terms, right? So it is not the feeling that we have discussed earlier. It is a finer layer of feeling. So before coming on to that, I would like to give a brief summary of the gross layer of feelings. Generally, so far as the feeling is concerned, it is the main criteria that all living beings are making decisions, right? If I put it this way, all living creatures are seeking pleasure. That is a fundamental principle of our existence. So when we say seek pleasure, we always try to maximize one side and completely declare war against the other side. I put it in a different way. Feelings are basically having two sides, two extremes. One is pleasant feelings and the other unpleasant feelings, right? So in our existence, what we do is we try to optimize the pleasant feelings as much as possible and keep a gun on the head of the unpleasant feeling. Right? So we don't want unpleasant feeling and maximize pleasant feelings. And around that, the entire world is built to maximize pleasant feelings. And I'm not going to give examples because it is going to take me away from the basic thing that we have got to discuss. And to go for this gross pleasant feeling, we have got to work very hard. We have got to pay a price. We have got to compete with people. Whereas the Blessed One says, there is another easier way where no one is competing. See, when you come and sit here, there are 8 to 10 people here. No competition. No one outside is coming and say, hey, get out. We want to meditate. Right? No competition. But if you go for a party, or if you go and buy something, and toilet papers, in the last few months you have seen people have been fighting to buy toilet papers. Right? So, to this happiness, where there is no competition, where there is no need for you to pay a price, which is within you, Blessed One says, you have a much higher happiness. So that is what we are going to talk today. Having said that, one might feel that if we have a higher happiness by practicing mindfulness, that we will have to give up everything and go for the higher happiness, which is practicing mindfulness. That is, this one is very clear. He very clearly says two things. Number one, unless you cannot be happy with the gross sensual feelings, it is very hard for you to go to the other one. You must have achieved the highest happiness possible in the sensual world. Right? If that cannot be done, you can't do this at all. Right? And the other thing he says is, it is not necessary to come out of the sensual world altogether. You can have a fine balance. That is why he is saying that there is a middle path, right? While living your normal life, while doing your duties as a parent or a partner, while doing your official responsibilities, while carrying on a business, you can take a few hours and go away from the sexual pleasure and enjoy this. And you can balance that world in that manner. It is not compulsory for you to completely come out of it. And there are people doing it. Even during Buddha's time, there have been people doing it. You may have heard the Visakha rather, the chief benefactress. She attained the first stage of enlightenment when she was 7. And after that, when she, in her old age, she has over 200 grandkids. So just imagine how many kids she has. And Visakha, another benefactor of the Blessed One, he, being a layperson, he achieved the 3rd stage as well of enlightenment. So therefore, it is not necessary to come out of the lay life as such. But it is one thing is very clear: if you can't optimize and maximize the pleasure in the lay life, this is going to be very hard, right? So this is why Blessed One had all the luxuries, and After having all that only, he went to that. Otherwise, people will say, because you can't do that, you are coming here. Right? Okay. Now, coming back to the topic of fine feelings. When we take these fine feelings, or we call it spiritual feelings, or supramundane feelings, we will have to refresh what we discussed last time. What we discussed last time was how we come to the final layer of material. There, what we discussed was we have the body, we bring our attention to the body. Once we bring our attention to the body, it is very difficult initially. You will have a lot of disturbances, but you may, to bring the attention to the body, you may use the technique of labeling. When you use the technique of labeling, what you will do is, while doing your walking practice, you will say, walking, walking, walking. Or you will say, right, left, right, left. Or if you are talking about sitting, since you have disturbances, maybe from sounds, maybe from aches and pains, maybe from thoughts sometimes, it is very hard to bring your attention to the breath. So once again, to curb those disturbances, what you will do is, you use the labeling technique. You will say when the in-breath is happening, not after that, not before that. When the in-breath is happening, you will start labeling in, out, 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 out. So in that manner, you may be able to keep the disturbances away and bring your attention to materiality, which is your body. In this case, either the walking or the sole of the feet or your respiration. So when you bring the attention to the respiration in this manner, or to the other object in this manner, what happens is your mind is with your body. When the mind is with the body, you start seeing things that you have not seen before. You may start saying that the leg is heavy, or you feel the softness on the sole of the feet when you place the leg, or you feel hardness, or you feel coolness, or you feel warmth. And these feelings or things that you observe, not only you see on the sometimes the sole of the feet, you may see that even upper part of the foot, sometimes ankle, sometimes you may observe that in your calf muscles as well. Especially when you place the feet, you first place the heel. When you place the heel on the ground, it just hit the ground and it gives the vibration to the entire body. So if your mind is sharp enough, you may be able to see this entire vibration, which you have not seen, although you have been walking for so many years. You may not have observed that. That's so far as the walking is concerned. And so far as sitting is concerned, when you bring your attention to your in-breath and out-breath, or the respiration, you gradually bring your attention to the body, your upper body. When you bring your attention to the upper body, once again, you may feel those things. You may feel warmth in the body, or you may feel the stiffness of the body, or you may feel the stress in the body. You may feel heaviness in the body. You may feel cooling sensation when the breath is going in, and when it is coming out, warmth and things like that you will observe. So in other words, what I want to simply tell you is, instead of seeing the body, now you see the fundamental elements of the materiality, which is earth element, water elements, air element, and fire elements, and things like that. So it is not now body you are talking about. You are talking about these fundamental characteristics. So when you observe those things, what the teachers would say is, okay, keep on observing and just observe those whatever the characteristics of the fundamental elements. When you keep on observing those things, over time, what happens is your mind gets more and more and more into the body. And you start seeing not now the fundamental characteristics of different elements. You start seeing the common characteristics of these elements. Initially, when you identified the different elements, then you have the distinct characteristics. Warmth is different from the coldness, or the heaviness is different from the warmth or cold. So you have the intrinsic characteristics. Now start seeing the common characteristics, which is all these. You can't exactly say what it is, but there is something happening. You start seeing that this is a live body. You start seeing that this body is not just waiting for at least a second. This keeps changing all the time. So I'm talking about a situation where your mind has completely gone into the body, and you see that this body is regenerating and degenerating. And this regeneration and degeneration happens very fast. And since your attention is in the body, you may be able to see that, and that is a common characteristic of all the elements. So that is the form that we discussed last time. So for this form, the Blessed One says in one of the suttas, which we call Penapinukuna Sutta, that he has been sitting near a river, and in that river, when the river was flowing, some water gathers into a corner, and then it starts making forms, white forms. Then the Blessed One says, our body is like that. It comes, gathers, and goes away, and comes, gathers, and goes away. So you start seeing such a phenomena happening in our body. If I give another example, you may start seeing a situation where when we had analog TVs, when you turn them on, and if there is no picture, you may see a lot of bubbles, black and white bubbles. So things like that may be observed when your mind is in the body, right? So that is a very fundamental layer, very basic layer of material. So when you come to this basic layer of materiality, fundamental layer of materiality, when you see the common characteristics of materiality, you call it form. And that is what we discussed in the last session. Now, because when this happens, this is something that you have not experienced in the past. So when this happens, it may go in two ways. One, some people may get completely frightened about it, right? Some people may start hugging and loving it, right? Because you have not seen such a thing before in your sensual world. You don't see regeneration and degeneration. We think this is a complete concrete body, and it is not a fragile thing. When you see these things, that it is so fragile, you get so frightened. It's like a beehive now. So some people get scared, and some people will have because they are frightened about it. Some people, when they see it, may start sweating, and some people may be having nausea. Some people may feel that they are completely lost in a jungle, or completely lost in a desert, or completely lost in the sea, because it is not something that they have ever expected when they bring the attention to the body. And they will stop meditation, or they will go and see a doctor, and something is wrong with me. Before meditation, I was perfectly all right. Now it seems I'm falling apart. Right? And doctor will check everything and charge you about $300-400. Nothing wrong. And I myself have done at least thrice. right? And to find out what is going on, I had to drive 175 kilometers. And even there, what they said was, that was a meditation center, going to a meditation center. And what they said was, it is like this, you keep on going in right? Until I met my teacher, Bhante Dhammajiva, I was not, I didn't know what was going on, but I just had some faith that something is working, right? So I kept on practicing. So what I want to say is, some people will get fried, and they may stop meditation, or they may change the teacher, or they may change the technique, right? Or may lose the teaching altogether, right? And what teachers do is, we get an opportunity like this to talk or to discuss, then they explain what is happening, and then ask them, yes, it is difficult, it is something that you have not experienced in the past, but you will have to understand that this is possible only to a human being. Now you are a human being, you yourself can see what is happening within your body. Animals can't do that. So this is what is called advancement. Not using a microscope or any other scope to see anything outside in the universe, but now you are seeing inside. So because of that inhuman ability, keep doing a good job, is the comment by the teachers. So if this student is having pain, and if he is energetic enough, he will continue. And then he will once again says, now I'm okay, and I'm just observing it. When I'm observing, I feel an energy being generated within me. Now what happens is, now in this process what we are doing is, we are going backwards. In other words, we bring our attention to the body, which is the matter, and we are, if I may say, we heat the matter and try to see the energy. Matter. Usually we know in science, energy is converted to matter and matter is converted to energy. There is an equation called E equals to mc squared. And that is what we are doing now. From matter, we have gone to the fundamental characteristics. From fundamental characteristics, when we keep on seeing, we have seen the basic common characteristic. When you keep on observing the common characteristics without any reaction, it gets further closer to the energy. So you see, this energy is being developed within you, and it comes up. It comes up. Then it becomes even harder to observe. And you say, my tummy is getting stuck, my heart is getting stuck, my throat is getting stuck, my head is getting stuck, my this is getting stuck, that is getting stuck. Right? When this happens, that is when the clinging happens. Right? You get frightened because of the clinging. We are talking about clinging aggregates. So this is the feeling. What is the feeling? Feeling is your attitude towards the materiality, the sensation that you feel. Right? So if you are frightened about it, that's a feeling. Right? If you feel, when the energy is being developed within you, and if it is stuck in any place, which means you hold on to it, you don't like that is happening. Right? But those are not mistakes. Those are not crimes. Those are not things to be punished. That is the nature, because we are creatures of clinging on things. So that clinging attribute comes out anytime when we practice. So that is why we need the discussion at the top. And the teacher said, yes, this is happening. And then students will say, okay, I have been observing for the last 2.5 years, but nothing is happening, I'm still stuck there. Possible, because we have had this journey called samsara for innumerable eons. We don't know. So we have so much of clinging on to matter and the immatter. So that has to gradually come out, right? So I have met, she was one of my teachers those days. And when I was having this stocking business, I spoke to her once again, Goenka Center, and she said, I had this for 9 years. Then I shot, oh, I'm going to go for 9 years. Fortunately not. And I had for about 3 or 4 years. I exactly don't remember, but it was for some time. Now, I've seen those who are practicing with me very much less than 1 year. Because if you talk right, if your experience is right, if you get the right advice, it is very easy to go to. Right? So therefore, it is not something that you will get the laugh about. Right? It's a normal thing that we can go to with the right advice. Okay, so this is how the clinging starts. So the basic thing that you're willing to do is when these blockings, when these tightenings happen, you will have to let it happen for some time. Then you know what is going on. And then what you will have to do is, you take that as your object. Go and sit, this develops. Okay, let the blocking happen. You quietly expect that, and you try to observe the very beginning of it. When you try to observe the very beginning of it, that conversion of matter to energy becomes much faster. Right? Okay, and that's one way you may be clicking, and this is the easy part. Right? When it is a difficult situation, everyone will come and talk to the teacher and say, "This is happening. This is happening. What is happening? Can you help me?" If it goes the other way around, when you see this basic common characteristic of the form, material form, I said it may go in two ways. One, the unpleasantness, where you don't like when you front, and the other, some people may like it because it's such a cooling sensation. You have had this body, and it was to maintain hand, to maintain head, to maintain body. You had to do so many things. Now you just sit and relax, and this amazing sensation comes. You enjoy that. You indulge in it. Don't tell anybody. They don't. Those who are enjoying that does not tell anybody, because it's something that they have expected, and they have never experienced such a situation from satisfying their eyes, from satisfying their ears, from satisfying their tongue, or any of the faculties. This is beyond the faculties. So they think even the teacher has not achieved this. I should keep on enjoying this. They don't talk about it. Very hard. And if you don't know, nobody can help. Right? So this is why the discussion is important. And I remember when I was a layperson, my wife was also practicing. And she never misses any sitting. She practices in the morning, practices in the evening. And when she falls sick, I remember once, she was so sick, she could not just get up from the bed. But when I came from work, she was in the shrine room. I asked, "How you came here?" "No, I just crawled." "Why did you come? You would have been on the bed." "No, if I come and sit here, I forget everything else." Which means she's getting to that stage and she's enjoying that. She forgets her sickness. And then I told her, this is not what you should do. And after knowing that, I told her, this is what you will do about the pleasant sensation. Then only I knew that she is enjoying the pleasant sensation. So to help her to come out of this enjoyment, indulgence in the pleasant sensation, I asked her to see the beginning of it. Then she started blasting me. This is what the teacher says, and how you say that, husband and wife, they keep on, right? So could not convince. I said, you do. I tried about for about seven months. She was not listening. I said, you do whatever you want to do. I just forget about it. For 4 5 months, she said, looks like what you said is correct. She has done it, taken the advice that I have given, and then she has changed, and she came out of that. So what I want to say is, even that is clicking. If you keep on enjoying that, that becomes clicking. So what the Blessed One says is, when you observe the gross layer of sensation, just be aware. He does not say shoot the sensation. He should not. He is not saying don't indulge in it. He says just be aware that you are having a pleasant sensation. If it is unpleasant, he says just be aware that it is an unpleasant sensation. By doing that, what he does is he brings you to the middle path. What is middle path? If you take x-axis, middle path is the zero. On one hand, you have negatives, on the other positives. So we are always on our side, the side which we want to be on. But the Blessed Ones just making us to observe what is going on, not letting us be part of it. You gradually reduce the identification of yourself with it. But then you gradually come to the middle point. When you come to the middle point, you call it another sensation which the sensual world has never heard, which is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. The sensual world does not know that. If they have that situation, they will talk about to somebody and keep on chatting for 1 hour, 2 hours. But they will go for a movie, they will go for a party, they will go out for a restaurant dinner just to get rid of that neither pleasant nor unpleasant situation. Just imagine, the entire movie industry is doing that. Facebook is doing that. Dramas are doing that. Concepts are doing that. When we don't have time for pleasant and unpleasant, when we have neither pleasant nor unpleasant situation, we can't be with zero. We can't be in zero. We will have to go either positive or negative. And that has been commercialized very well. It has been commercialized very well. There are huge industries now. But Blessed One says, your happiness is there. Come out of that struggling on the positive side, come out of the struggling from the negative side, just by not doing anything. When you don't try to increase your positive, when you don't try to reduce your negative, you will naturally come. When you come there, some of you may have been feeling, while practicing, you feel sleepy, you feel lethargic, you feel boring, you feel go stop and go home. That is because you are gradually reaching there. You don't enjoy your breath. You don't enjoy your walking. You don't enjoy the fact that your mind has gone into the body. You don't enjoy that sensation that you feel because you have come out of the sensual world. You don't enjoy any of this. So therefore you get there. And that is the place where you have the least friction. But we don't like it. We want to change it. Blessed One says, go there, and when you feel lethargic, just be aware that you are lethargic. When you feel sleepy, just be aware that you are sleeping. Don't hate the sleepiness. When you feel bored, don't get up and go. Just wait for 1 more second. Wait for 2 more seconds to more. And in that manner, you can enjoy the real happiness that the Blessed One is trying to introduce. To do that, now here we are talking about how this feeling, pleasant feelings or unpleasant feelings or either pleasant or unpleasant feelings, is to be considered as a phenomenon. What the Blessed One says is it is not a mistake. If you cling on to it, it naturally happens. When it naturally happens, just be aware, such is feelings. That is a higher awareness. Such is feelings. Such is its appearance. Such is its possibility. Not a single feeling on the earth lasts forever. It doesn't last at least a fraction of a second. So you will have to have an extreme sharper mind. This is why I'm saying this is the final layer. To see this happiness is coming up and stays a fraction of a second and passes. And that is how you consider that as a phenomenon. And this is what they say in aggregates, you are clinging onto it. So when you feel that tightness in your body, it is feelings, such is feeling, accept it. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to ask, what do I do next? What you will have to do next is the same thing that you have been doing the last second. Just keep observing, such is feeling. And you will not remember that when you enjoy the feeling. It takes quite some time because you get indulged in even without your knowledge. After some time you read, oh, I'm just here, still here. And as soon as you see that, that's the way you see such as feeling. And then you see it passes away and then arises again. All right. So this is what I want to talk about feelings today. Hope I have given some insight based on the practice. So with that, let me conclude the talk. If you have any question around it or any questions relating to your practice, we have a few more minutes. Does anyone want to talk about practice? How your walking and sitting is going? That's more important rather than the talk. That is how you. That is how I can, when you speak, I can help. Sanjay wants to say something. Kutak.
Should we work on it? Yeah, you just have to go. It'll be when I first started coming here, say a few weeks back, it was very difficult for me to maintain attention when talking about walking now. It's very difficult for me to maintain attention to the sensations in the feet. Constantly, the mind was wandering all over the place. And now I'm finding it much easier to, when something arises in my mind, to bring attention back to feet. difficulty or that struggle has reduced a lot. Something I'm noticing is the mind enters different streams of almost concentration. It doesn't last exceptionally long time, but it allows you to concentrate on something, and then something else will pop up, and that stream of concentration diminishes. But seeing that entrance of that stream, that's become more noticeable. Today, during breathing or seated meditation, I noticed my breath for a little while, the in-breath and the out-breath. It was almost like a circular motion. And this was during your instructions. When you said get closer, get closer, get closer, you could feel getting really close to the breath. It's very difficult to describe. But yeah, those would be my observations.
Good. It's good that you have found a way to come out of the wandering mind. And in walking, especially, that happens because eyes are open and eye is a main distractor. So there will be a lot of thoughts coming, right? So most important thing is you have seen that. That is mindfulness. You try to bring your attention, but you have an obstacle to it. Awareness is that, knowing the obstacle, right? So you have seen that, but still have continued. So the obstacle loses the fight, simply because you continue. And you don't struggle to bring your attention, right? You're seeing that it's a disturbance, but you still keep walking. Gradually, its strength loses, and then you said you were able to bring the attention to the feet. And the word you use is concentration. So this is something that we will have to address. That is what we are used to, and that is what we have been using in our maybe previous lives if we are practiced. What Buddha is trying to achieve is not concentration. He is trying to achieve the awareness. He is trying to bring awareness forward. So when you try to bring the awareness forward, if you have been able to bring your attention to the feet, then you should give information, observation of your walking. This is how I felt. Lifting, this is how I felt. When it was moving, this is how I felt. When I was slowing it down, this is how I felt. When I press it, this is how I felt. When I press it down. Right? So you give more information about the walking process. I know, it has happened, but you have just let it happen. It's a cool experience. Enjoy that. But we get more closer to the walking. When you get more closer to the walking, you energize yourself a bit more to go past concentration and see what else you have in the background. Right? So then you start seeing a lot of other things. So concentration is good. Now it is under control. Now you can start giving more information about the walking process. So that only gives me concrete evidence that you go beyond concentration and you get more and more into your body. The exercise is to bring the mind to the body. That is what converts matter to energy. This is an energy flow. Right? So we should get into that energy flow. To get into the energy flow, we should bring the mind to the body. Now what happens is this energy flow is all over the universe, not here. Right? So very simple equation the lesson one has given. Observe your walking. The energy flow comes in. Right? So we have started very well. Keeping the disturbances at bay, but it is not done altogether. They may come up again, but still you have now the technique. Right? So next time I would like to have few more observations of the walking process. So it's not only for Sanjay, I think it's a common question for everybody, right? So applicable for anybody. And the breathing, it has gone a step further. Although you are not given a lot of information about your respiration, there's seen a very important thing in the in sitting, where you see the breathing is a cycle, right? When our breath finishes, in breath comes in, our breath finishes, in breath comes in. This is how we go into other lives as well. It's a cycle, right? So you have observed that cycle, you have come to that. So go into that cycle, get as close as possible to that cycle. So you can use that air to put your mind in that. And AI is a vehicle that goes all over our body. That AI is only transporting our blood. So therefore, we may be able to set our mind to the body using that. So since you are seeing the cycle working, you get closer, you may get more into the body. And then convert the matter gradually to energy layers. Right. So good experience, good report, walking, try to get more information, and even sitting, try to get more information from this point onwards, cyclical pattern onward. So anybody else want to say anything else? If she has a question, I'm more than happy to answer. Okay, so I'm not going to. Lian, do you want to say something or? Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Thank you. Although I'm not asking others now, you may have to present your report in the future because that's very important. It's called the discussion supportive factor. So when you discuss only the details of what your practice is coming on, so it's imperative in a single group, the one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Every week they are given at least the same thing they repeat. That experience is important. They feel that it is the same thing, but when I'm listening, I can see where the mind is going, where the practice is going. Right? So discussion is very important. Trish, do you have anything? Any comment, any question, any report about the practice?
I don't, other than I'm finding that each time I do the practices that I can become more, be able to concentrate more. That there is a struggle, but it is improving as I'm going along. All right. Okay. So thank you very much for joining again. And if there is anything, don't hesitate. Raise your hand. Use the raise hand function, and more than happy to help. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So if that is the case, if there is no other questions, comments, complaints, we can go for the conclusion. So we have generated quite a bit of positive energies. We can share these positive energies with other beings in the universe. Those who are helping to continue this dispensation, continue this teaching, continuously help the community of monks. So for that, we will chant the usual stanzas.